Here is one of a series of talks by spiritual leader Lola McDowell Lee, spanning 2 decades from the early 70s through the 90s. Lola was a Zen Roshi, whose Rinzai lineage included Dr. Henry Platov and renowned Zen master Shigetsu Sasaki. Lola was a religious scholar as well as an ordained Christian minister. While the talks are focused mainly on Zen and Buddhism, Lola drew on many spiritual traditions, including those of Jesus, Plato, Lao Tzu, the Hindu Vedas, Meister Eckhart, and Gurdjieff.
Now, we as human beings are capable of making choices, having a mind which sees both sides of the coin sometimes. Sometimes we can see both sides of the coin if we make an effort, having a mind. Now, we can choose to be a conqueror, conquering everything that is around us, or some of the things that are around us. We can choose that. Or we can relax. We can choose to relax. Now, if one tries to conquer life, as it were, we're not going to succeed. First of all, life isn't against us. Life is our mother. Life has brought us here. And if you begin to fight the very source of your own energy, how in the world can you possibly be a winner? Because then, the harder you fight, the more frustrated you get. But there are those people who feel that they have to fight. But their fighting is this thing of, look at me, look at me, look at me, I'm here, I'm here. And so they fight in a way, they have this conquering attitude for recognition, which from our point of view is an incorrect approach. But we can see ourselves doing it now and then. Look at me, look at me. I'm here, look at me. If you're observing enough to see yourself doing this now and then, once you see yourself doing this, you can switch right away and you can start cooperating with the situation. And the very moment that you begin to cooperate, you become you become a religious person, what they call in the East a Sannyasin. Sannyasin. And we have all heard Vivekananda's great poem about the song of the Sannyasin. And he begins it with, wake up the note! Wake up the note. The song that had its birth far off, where worldly taint could never reach. In the mountain caves and glades of forest deep, whose calm no sigh for lust, or wealth, or fame could ever dare to break, where rolled the stream of knowledge, truth, and bliss that follows both. Sing high that note, Sannyasin bold, say, Om Tat Sat, Om. Be a Sannyasin. Turn around and cooperate, Sing it high. Sing it low. But sing it. Wake up that note. Begin to understand that cooperation is the way. Cooperation is the way to understanding. And once you begin to see this, then we could say that the long, dark night is coming to an end. Wake up that note. Now, this monk asked the Buddha, what is the most powerful and what is the most illuminating? This is a question that many people have. What is most powerful? And we ask it as if we were on a power trip or an ego trip. We feel that we're weak. Here I am, helpless and weak and all this kind of stuff. I'm very limited. I've got 1,001 limitations. Really. They're all around me, all these limitations. We feel this, and so we feel weak. Everywhere, it seems to me, I come up against this wall, I bump my head on it, and I feel so powerless. So it's a very human question. What is most powerful in this world, and how do I get it? Well, the desire for power, the effort to become powerful, it points to conflict. Why do you need power in the first place? Why? Do you have a grudge? Are you aggressive? Do you want to prove to others that you are powerful and they're not? Is this why you want power? It's like sometimes there's a little Napoleon hidden down in here someplace, kind of like a shadow coming around. It's true, that in our seeking power, it has created a great many things. We've done a lot with it. So we can't really sneer at it, The whole framework of science, is to conquer. We're going to conquer nature. We're going to overpower nature. We're going to find the keys of nature when we conquer her. And so we've done a lot in this realm. But sometimes in our searching for power, we upset the rhythm of life. It's like one time Frederick of Prussia, he was out in his country estate, and he was watching, and there were all these little sparrows on the ground. And they were pecking around and eating grain and so on. And he began to think. And he watched these sparrows, and he began to think about it. And he reached the conclusion that these birds, these little sparrows, were eating so many pecks of grain in a year. And this shouldn't be allowed because wheat belongs to the people and not to the birds. So he announced that everybody who brought a dead sparrow to such and such a place would receive a certain sum of money. And so all the Prussians became hunters. Well, they are anyway. And there came the day when very few, if any, sparrows were left in the whole country. It was a great victory. He had conquered the sparrows. And they had a festival. It was celebrated as a conquest over nature. Well, then the next year, comes his advisors, and he is told that the caterpillars and the locusts were eating all the crops because without the sparrows, the rhythm of life had been destroyed. Sparrows eat caterpillars. Yeah. And there being no sparrows, the crops were being eaten. So they imported sparrows from another country, from another, to protect their crops, to bring back this balance in nature. And it is said that somebody heard Frederick say, it seems that God knows what he's doing. Yeah. But when we want to dominate, we feel we need power. And power is needed to conquer something. Power is needed to be an authority. And there are people who become interested in psychic phenomena. It's a power trip. Look what I can do. Huh? Yeah. And it's like this magician who had become quite famous, and look what I can do. And so this cruise ship, this ocean liner, they hired him, and every night he was out there performing for the people on board. And everybody was very impressed with his feats, except the little parrot that was sitting there on the perch, and every time he'd do something very spectacular, the little parrot would say, "It's a fake! It's a fake!" And then the boat hit an iceberg, and it sank. And it so happened that the magician and the parrot wound up on each end of a plank, and that parrot eyed that magician for quite a while, and finally says, okay, what'd you do with the ship? Yeah, Hitler was afraid of death, terribly afraid of it. And, he would never allow anyone to spend the night in his room, even. No girls, even. No? Who knows, the girl may turn out to be a spy. And he trusted no one. So consequently, he was one of the loneliest men on earth. But he went right on conquering, which was his balance against fear. The more he conquered, the more he felt like he had power. And the more that he felt he had power, the more he felt that death couldn't touch him. And so, with all his conquering there for a while, he began to feel like he was immortal. He had really staved off that fear. The search for power is a way not to surrender. It's a state where you are always in control. You want the power so you can always be in control. But a sannyasin is doing just the opposite. He wants to be in harmony. There's no question of conflict in harmony. He is seeking a love affair with the true self, or with the power to be conscious. Power, He doesn't ask for power. He's seeking a love affair with. He asks, how can I lose this sense of separation? Not how can I conquer the other? He asks to be able to move with, to move in this river of life. Not to conquer it, not to make a dam and say, now I've got it all, but to move with it. And so to the question put by the monk, the Buddha said, meekness is most powerful. Jesus also said, blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. And the statement, if you just look at it like that, it seems absurd with our conditioned mind. The meek, they've never been powerful enough to inherit anything. And here he's going to give them the earth. What is this? Blessed are the meek. Meekness is most powerful. But this power now that he has in mind has a totally different connotation. When we sit and sing this little mantra together, the I am, which is the true self, is the power with which I am conscious. There you sit with this power, and it is so subtle you can't put your fingers on it. And it's the most powerful thing in the world. It never stands up inside of you and says, "Ha, here I am, I'm the power." No, you spend all your days looking just to get a little glimpse of it. And it hides, it's meek. The most powerful thing in the world is so meek, so subtle. How often do you act in accord with it? Meekness is most powerful. When in being meek, let us say we're going to be meek. It's a little more than just acting it. I mean, acting meek is for the birds. To be meek, It's powerful because in that state, no one is against you. I mean, if you have no conflict and you are in harmony, how can anyone be against you? See, this has to come from in here, not something you project out there. Meekness is most powerful because when one is meek, the sense of separation is gone. And you are not separate from the whole. And the whole of this, the total of this, is very powerful. Meekness is powerful because you're not fighting. So there's no way that you can be disturbed. There's no way you can be destroyed. You're not fighting. Very paradoxical. Not at all our usual attitude. Lao Tzu, in his little Tao Te Ching, he said, that which is about to contract surely has been expanded. That which is about to weaken has surely been strengthened. That which is about to fall has surely been raised. This is an explanation of the secret that the tender and the meek conquer the hard and the strong. So the holy man puts his person behind, and the person comes to the front. He surrenders his person, and his person is preserved. Yeah. He puts his person behind. He becomes the last. He's meek. The last cannot be defeated. Where can you push the last? There's no place else. You can't push him any further. So Jesus said too, those who are last in the world will be first in the kingdom. Meekness is most powerful. You cannot defeat a meek person because he has no desire to conquer. Therefore, you cannot defeat him. What can you take away from a meek person? It doesn't seem as if he has anything. He can't be cheated. He can't be robbed. He can't be conquered. So he stays free. He's meek. Alexander, Alexander the Great, he went and he conquered India, and on his way back, he remembered suddenly that Aristotle had requested of him that he bring back a sannyasin. So Alexander began to ask around. He inquired, are there any sannyasins around here? Oh yeah, there's one down by the river. So he sent his soldiers down for this sannyasin. And they said to him, you come and be a royal guest. Every comfort will be provided. You will need for nothing. You just come. And the sannyasin laughed at him, at these soldiers, And they were very upset. That he wouldn't come. So Alexander himself went down there and began to say, you come. Huh? You come. Huh? Either you come willingly or you come as a prisoner. But you come. And the guy laughed at him. And finally he says, you come or I'll cut off your head. And the sannyasin, again, very cheerfully, he says, well, okay, but I've done that already. You see my head on the ground, I will also see my head on the ground, because I have become the witness. And Alexander couldn't bring himself to harm that man. He was so fearless, and he was happy, and he required nothing. He wasn't conquering anybody. One who does not exist as an ego, is not on this power trip, is meek. Aren't you? Yeah? One who does not exist as an ego can't be conquered and can't be defeated. Because by transcending the ego, you have gone beyond defeat. Haven't you? Sure. It is a very different concept of power. The power of the meek. There's no conflict in it. It is not created out of any kind of friction. We use friction, and there's a power that comes out of that. With friction, we have electricity. With friction, two sticks together, we have fire, and you rub your hands together when they're cold, and your hands get warm. Friction, huh? It has a kind of a power in it. There is this other power that comes by cooperation. There is this other power that comes out of harmony. So the Buddha said, one who is in accord with the way is great. One who is in accord with the way is powerful. To be in accord with the way is to have power. It's to be meek. To be in accord with the way, meekness is a necessity. Because you must step back and let the power step forward. In Japan, and a lot of other places around the world today, there are people, a few of them, who take up what is called Aikido. And David can tell you something about Aikido, much more than I can. But Aikido has in it the word ki, which means power. Qi, huh? The word in Chinese is qi. Dai qi. And they have a word in India which is supposed to be somewhat equivalent to this, which is a prana, which means etheric. It's a very different concept of power. In Aikido, and the martial arts, one is taught that when someone attacks you, here comes this conqueror, don't be in conflict with him. Cooperate. It seems rather impossible, huh? He pushes you over, you fall. You roll right up, and there you are again. Aikido says, go with him. Ordinarily, when somebody attacks you, maybe we ought to have David give a demonstration, huh? Ordinarily, when somebody attacks you, we get very stiff and we get very taut. This is a conflict. Aikido says, receive it. It's a gift from the enemy. He's bringing great energy to you. Don't be in conflict with it. Receive it. You cooperate with it. It becomes yours. Usually we know of one power. And it comes out usually in us as no. Yeah? As soon as the child, begins to realize that he has a little power, out of it, out of his mouth it comes, no. Yeah. No. Huh? Aikido says, say yes. Don't get stiff. Receive your gift. Absorb it. And the energy passes from the other one to you. And in Tai Chi, the thing is this flowing with, not against, just a flowing with. There's no argument in it. There's no conflict in it. It's flowing with a tremendous silence. There's this movement with the silence. There's no need to fight. You flow with, and the power is there. So this Aikido and the Tai Chi, and this attitude, Jesus called meekness, and what the Buddha calls meekness. And they depend on the same principle. It's the principle of harmony. We can watch ourselves with very simple little things. The wind blows, let it blow, Or it's raining, and you're out in the rain on your way home. Now you can either take this rain in a Aikido way, or you can take it in an ordinary way. The clothes can get wet. With your sword thing, Diane, it's the same thing, isn't it? You cooperate, you don't really fight. You go with, yeah. She can teach us something too. Anyway, we're walking home in the rain, and in the ordinary way, I'm getting wet. I might catch cold. This might happen, that might happen. The cars out there, the road is slippery, they could hit me. I better do something to get out of this. So we become very much against the rain, and we become antagonistic, and now we've got a bad mood. Raining. Well, now we try the Aikido way. You relax. And you hold up your face and you enjoy the drops of water on your face. And it's cleansing, huh? It's not bad. It's really rather refreshing. What's wrong with your clothes getting wet? They'll dry. It's like walking in this rain, it's heaven is meeting earth. So let's not miss this opportunity. You feel the touch of it. Accept it. Be in harmony with it. Conflict we can always have, and we're usually in it. Now for a little while, try to be in accord. And the whole meaning of everything begins to change. Meekness. Living in accord. The way it is. Living in accord. Harmony. Living in harmony. Meek. Ordinarily, we live through the ego. And the ego wants to conquer. And it balances out its fears. And, because of that, we suffer. As Lao Tzu says, after being raised up, there's going to come the fall. and we suffer. You know, ego satisfaction, the raising up, after which comes the falling down. And there was once a senator from the Interior Committee, and he visited an Indian reservation in Arizona, and he made there a very fine speech, full of promises of better things, as the politicians always do, all of them. We shall see, he said, a new era of Indian opportunity. And to this, all these assembled Indians gave a ringing cry of Hoya! Hoya! And a little bit encouraged by the senator continued, and he said, we promise better schools and technical training, you know. Hoya! Hoya! Lots of enthusiasm from the Indians with their cry. We pledge better hospitals, medical assistance. Hoya! Hoya! And with a tear finally running down his face because, you know, he was so well accepted, you know, and so great was the response. And the senator finally ended, you know, we come to you as equals, as brothers, so trust us. And the Indians all stood up with one big cry of, Hoya! And then afterwards he went out with the chief and began his tour of inspection. You all know this? No? And he's looking around. He makes this tour of inspection. And he comes to this big pen. And he says, oh, I see you have fine breeds of beef cattle here. May I inspect them? Oh, certainly. Come this way. And the chief says, you know, but be careful not to step in the Hoya. That's what you call raisings up and layings down, fallings down. Right? Yeah. Sometimes we seem to conquer, and we really are not, you know. Sometimes it is our misinterpreting. Our conquering is our own misinterpretation. It could be that our seeming to conquer is nothing but a coincidence. And you say to yourself, oh, look at me, you know, and you get up on tiptoe and you say, I am gaining power. You watch. Comes the stumble. And, you know, because a lot of it is sometimes just plain old coincidence. It's just things coming together all of a sudden, and it seems like, oh, look what I did, and you haven't done anything at all. You know, you haven't even solved your own problem. And you do all this stuff, you know. It's like the little boy out in the field, and the cop is coming by in the car, and he grinds his brakes to a stop, and he gets out and shouts to him, and he says, Sonny, have you seen an airplane come down anywhere near here? Oh, no, sir. He's trying to hide his slingshot. You know, I've only been shooting at the bottle on the fence. You know, we get these ideas, and you know it. You do something. Little boy can be forgiven. I'm not so sure you can. Huh? Yeah. Meekness is most powerful, for it harbors no evil thoughts, and moreover it is restful, and it is full of strength. Ordinarily we depend on comparisons, and that's not restful. You know, it is more powerful than, you know. The power that the Buddha is talking about is non-comparative. It has nothing to do with anybody else. Nothing. Now, what is most illuminating? The most illuminating, the Buddha says, is mind. A mind which is thoroughly cleansed and which, remaining pure, retains no blemishes. From the time when there was as yet no heaven and earth till the present day, there is nothing in the 10 quarters which is not seen or heard by such a mind, for it has gained all knowledge, and for that reason it is called illuminating. So, now, to cleanse the mind is not a one-time thing. No. A continuous cleansing is necessary. And so we come again to this meditation. It's not something that you do once and forget about. Because each moment of the day, we are very busy gathering dust. And the meditation is like a bath. You eat, and you sleep, and you take a bath, all this for your body. Meditation should also be a part of your natural life. Twice a day, you should cleanse your mind. Yeah, in the morning and in the evening. If you clean it before you go to sleep, your dreams will change. You know, or maybe you no longer have any dreams, because most of the dreams are nothing but the dust that you have gathered during that day anyway. Yeah. In the morning, you meditate, and you become a very silent pool of energy, and so you go out and you move in the world in a very different way. Non-conflicting, non-aggressive. If you meditate correctly, you will move with Aikido, with his Tai Chi. You will move in harmony. You will be cooperative. You will be meek. And the illumination, or this luminosity from within, it is like a lamp that's been covered with many, many layers of curtains. You know, so many that no light can penetrate through. So with meditation and with observation and with living in harmony, you remove one curtain, and then another 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 curtain, and another curtain. Huh? That's what you put me through. Yeah. And then all of a sudden one day, all the curtains are dropped. And suddenly you see you are a lamp unto yourself. You know, when the Buddha was dying, you know, Ananda, he began to carry on crying and weeping, you know. And Buddha told him, stop. Why are you crying? What are you doing? And the little Ananda says, well, you're leaving us. You know, I've been with you for 40 years. You know, I walked with you, I ate with you, I slept with you, I listened to you, I've been like a shadow to you. You were always available, you know. And I didn't become enlightened. And now you're leaving, and what chance have I got now? You know, so I'm crying for myself. You know, Buddha says, you don't worry. I'm not taking your light away. I never was your light. Your light is in your own being. Be a light unto yourself. You know, Ananda had all these 40 years, his tremendous memory. So he'd been keeping track of what he was supposed to write down, you know. And he'd listened actually in a kind of a so-so manner. He wasn't really listening. You're listening but not listening. And there's always the thought, so, well, if I miss today, there's tomorrow, and tomorrow I'll listen again, and the next day after that I'll listen again with the hurry. There's all these other mornings that are going to come along. And here, all of a sudden, all the mornings cut off. And he must have, at that time, become very alert. He must have become very sharp, because all the other mornings were now gone. And the death of his beloved friend and his teacher, must have penetrated into him like a sword coming into him. See? He was finally awake, to what was going on. And Buddha had said, be a light unto yourself. And then he died. Those were his last words. Be a light unto yourself. And Ananda did finally find enlightenment. He did finally become a lamp unto himself. So, meekness is power, and meditation is illumination. Two aspects of the same coin. One side, the egolessness, the meekness, and the other side, the purity of mind. And they're together in harmony. So, this song of the Sannyasin, he finally says, say peace to all. From me no danger be to aught that lives. In those that dwell on high, in those that lowly creep, I am the self in all. All life, both here and there, do I renounce, and heavens, earths, and hells, all hopes and fears. Thus cut thy bonds, Sannyasin bold. Say Om, Tat Sat, Om. And now, may the peace and the power that passeth all understanding hold us and keep us in the love of the Christed consciousness while we are seemingly separate one from another. And I thank you very much.
If you find Lola's talks valuable, more will be posted in weeks to come.